This is going to be a great video regarding the promised land. You never heard this type of information before, but I'm going to break down where the promised land may or may not be according to the Bible. Listen closely. Therefore, shall you keep the commandments which I command you this day, that you may be strong and go in to possess the land whither you go to possess it. Right here. And they may prolong your days in the land, which the Lord sware to your fathers to give unto them and their seed, a land flowing with milk and honey. Right here. For the land which thou goest to possess it is not a land, listen closely, of Egypt, from whence ye came out, where thou sowest the seed and water it with thy foot as the garden of herbs. But the land which thou go to possess it is a land of hills and valleys, and drinketh the water of the rain of heaven. Right here. All right. So this is land not like the land of Egypt. Okay. Listen closely. Now, if you want to look at the logistics of where this promised land so-called is, this is Egypt. Okay. Look at the promised land. It's a land you or your father, it's going to be a land not like in Egypt, okay, that you have to water by foot. Now, do you have to water this land by foot over here in Israel? Yes, you do. You have to water by foot. It specifically says it's going to be a land that you or your fathers never known, number one, and it's going to be land yet you're not going to have to water by foot, and it's going to be flowing with water, okay? There's more. There's more. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. I just told you this is look, it takes you hours to get to walk there, okay? But this is the so-called promised land, okay? So how could this be? All right. Now, did the promised land have houses and wells and vineyards? Okay, let's look what it says here. When God, your God, ushers into your land that he promised your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give you, you're going to walk into large, bustling cities you didn't build, well-furnished houses you didn't buy, come upon wells you didn't dig, vineyards and orchards you didn't plant. Okay, bustling cities. Okay, bustling cities. Okay, you're gonna come over here, and there's gonna be bustling cities like Egypt's over here. This land. Wait till you see how they describe this land. Nations with fenced high walls great, cities great, towns. Okay, but they're going to say that this was right here. How could it be? Let's find out. Yeah, we already know that these are going to be wells that you didn't dig. Okay, so now let's look at what Deuteronomy 6 says. And it shall be, when the Lord thy God shall have brought you into the land which he swore unto your fathers, to give thee great and goodly cities, this is the verse, which thou buildest not. The house is full of good things. Wells dug. It tells you everything here. Okay, so it's bringing you into this land that is great. Okay, now, and then they're gonna take you to this land, and he's gonna make a deal with you, this God, with these people, that he's gonna take these people out of Egypt and bring them to this land, but he didn't give them any law, statutes, or commandments at that time. He just basically told you, say to the children of Israel, I'm going to bring you into this land, and you're going to be under the judgments and the burdens of Egypt. See, whereas say to the children, I am the Lord, now we're bringing you out from under the burdens of Egyptians, and I will rid you of the bondage, and I will redeem you with the stretched arm, with great judgments, and I will take you for you to be my people, for you to take you for people, and I will be to you a God, and you shall know that I am the Lord your God. Okay, so now he's going to take you out of the burdens of the Egyptians, but he's going to put you under burdens that he's going to put you under. But he didn't tell the children of Israel that you're going to go under this Lord, whoever this Lord is. You think he's the Most High, or if he's just a man of war, or strategic ruler. He's going to take you, he's going to put you under his burdens now. That's what he's got planned for you. Unfortunately, that's what he's got planned for you. Okay? Now, when the spies go out and they look at this land, they look at this land that they never knew. It says right here, nevertheless, the people be strong that dwelt in the land. The cities are walled, very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. Okay, so we saw these great people. In the cities are walled. Now you're talking about a place right next door to Egypt. Like Egypt didn't know about this place that was greater than them. Nations. It's calling out as these are multiple nations, cities and towns. Okay, so you ask a question. How was the promised land a land nobody knew of, and Egypt was close by? If Egypt was close by, a promised land in the context of the Israelites was a land they were promised by God, not one they were already familiar with. Okay. Well, how Egypt was geographically close, it was a different land. Okay, now I'm telling you, okay, it's a different land, but it's not a different land. He said, I'm going to bring you to a land not like in Egypt. And the Israelites experienced a culture of Egypt were not applicable to the promised land. The promised land was a new territory with different conditions, resources, and challenges. But it's not a land, it's a land you have to water the wells by foot. It tells you it's not going to be land that you got to water by foot. Okay. That land, you still have to water this land. Okay. You still got to water their land. Okay, was it a land that they knew? No, it says right here. It's not a land that they or their fathers knew. They didn't know nothing about this land that was right next door. They're saying this. This is the narrative. The land is walking distance. Nobody knew about these great nations, cities, bustling things. But the problem is, it's going to be land that you do not have to water by foot. I showed you that. Okay. Now, when you look at this book, while corn requires a certain amount of rainfall to thrive, it's unlikely that Israel, particularly in the arid south regions, could solely rely on natural rain for corn cultivation. Okay, so this book says it's not going to, you can't cultivate, you're not going to be able to cultivate corn in this land. Okay, but if you look at this land, it says right here, you see, I'm going to show you this again. For the land, whether you go as to possess, not like the land of Egypt, where when you came out, you have to sow as thy seed and waters with thy foot. But you know that's not right because it's right next door. So this is wrong. You got a lie here. But I'm going to look at this. And it shall come to pass, hearken diligently, that I will give thee your rain in this due season, the first rain, latter rain, that they must gather thy corn and wine and thy oil. But this land requires irrigation and watering by foot. That land always does. To this day, it requires watering by foot. So that's not the land, and it's not right next door. So, and here's another one. And the Lord said, I surely see the affliction of my people, and I come down to deliver them out of the hands of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land and large. Okay, this is a large land flowing with milk and honey. Okay, so this large land, think about it. Large land. Now you got names like the Perizzites, the Canaanites, and the Amorites. Remember those names: Canaanite, Amorite, Perizzite. Okay, remember those names. Okay, because this is a large land. Okay, again, look, a large land. That's not a large land. It's not a large land. It's not nations. It's not another nation. I'm going to bring you to another nation. It's not another nation. Not another nation. Okay. Now they want to tell you they were circling in the area. No, they were going through. There's journeys that they had to walk out for 11 days. Okay, this whole journey here is not even. It wouldn't even take you 6 days, but they were journeying 11 days. And they went straight through. They weren't walking around in circles. They want to tell you, yeah, we were walking around in circles. No, they were going through the lands. They went through. And if you read these books, it tells you when they went through the land. They weren't walking around in circles. And they went to the place called the wilderness of Zin. Okay, wilderness of Zin. They went through the wilderness. But I'm going to show you where the wilderness of Zin is. Okay, but here's Deuteronomy 3. And we took all the cities at that time. There was not a city which we took not from them. 80 cities, all the regions, okay, all in the kingdom of Og of Bashan, okay. All these cities were fenced with high walls, gates, bars beside a wall towns, great and many. There's great and many. Oh, look, there's great and many towns. And we utterly destroyed them. So you got a place that's great and many. Great was great with walls and cities. It was, and you don't have to water by foot, but it's telling you that there's the promised land right there. That's the narrative. That's what they want to tell you. But you can tell something's not right when you read this book. It's not right. So it's not there. There's not great towns. Where's the great towns? Okay, now, did all the 12 tribes of Israel go into the so-called promised land? No, no. There was 2 tribes. Now you have to understand, Reuben and Gad, along with the half tribe of Manasseh. They didn't cross over the Jordan, okay, to go into the promised land. Okay, they did only 10, mostly 10 tribes did. A lot of people don't know that. 2.5 tribes held back. But when you enter the promised land, the Jordan is a place of crossing. Look, this is a place of crossing over. It's a place of crossing over. It's a symbolic place. When you cross the Jordan, it's a place of crossing over. Now, where did they cross over? Because Og of Bashan, if you know about the Og of Bashan, the mighty oaks of Og of Bashan, mighty oaks of this place. And if you look at this, if you look at the maps, you know that there's only one biggest place where the most oaks are, and it's a Russian forest. Now, you should know that this place that they went to is where Og of Bashan was, okay? And if you look at maps, look at this map. Now, what I'm telling you is the journey that they took was a different journey. They went this way, and this is called the Bering Sea Straits, okay? This is the place of crossing over. They went from the east to the west, okay? Now, when you went to the wilderness of Zin, they went a long distance. They traveled through, and they got to the wilderness of Zin right here. This is the wilderness of Zin. This wilderness here, they had to cross over this wilderness. When they got through this wilderness, they went to the land of Og of Bashan. Okay, Og of Bashan had a land with cities great. They built the wall. They want to call this the Chinese wall, the China wall, but it's actually Og of Bashan's wall. Okay, to get from this land, this fertile land, to this land, they set up a wall right here. It's the wall, Great Wall of China, but it's not China. It's on the other side of China. People already figured that out. It's not to keep for China. It's somebody else. Okay, so it was another people. It was Og, King Og, and this is their land that was up here, and that was the land that the 2 tribes of Israel stayed, because it was a beautiful land. It was full of oak trees. It was a beautiful land. They decided to stay here. They didn't want to cross over the place of crossing right here to go into the west and go into another land. They stood on the other side. So this kingdom, the whole kingdom of Og of Bashan, was given to these tribes. Okay, now you wonder, like, well, where's your, how do you know this? Well, do you know about this map? The David Rumsley map. This is a map from the 1500s of our Earth, of our world, okay? It's America. You can see it right here is America. There's South America, California. There's Florida. Okay, now you look at America. Here's Africa right here. Now, let's look at this map. In the 1500s, okay, now this is the place of crossing over. Okay, I'm going to zoom out. This is California. Okay, this is down by Central America, South America. There's Florida. This is the Americas, okay? But right here is Alaska, and this is the place that they cross over. It's the Stretto di Aneo, okay? But this is a place of crossing right here. Now, when they came through here, and if you go all the way back to Egypt, Egypt's on this map also. It's over here. See, it's right here. This is Egypt, where they came. They went through and they crossed the Great Way. They went through all these nations. They're all different names. They're all the names that you know. They named everything. And they changed the names of everything. All these names here, they're all changed. And they've been changed and changed. People added their names. But one thing that they did not take off this map is very important. Right here is this name, Arsareth. Okay, now if you look at the book of Ezra, you know that Arsareth is the place that the Israelites went to. And look at this map. Could you read this? The tribes of the Israel. Okay, tribes of Israel. Now this is over. This is right over here by the crossing over. So if you look at the map, this tribe of Israel is located right here. Right here. Okay, right in this, right here. Okay, so now you have tribes of Israel here. Oh, tribes of Israel here. What? Okay, what are they doing here on this 1500 map? They just put this information here for shits and giggles? No, they didn't put that for shits and giggles. Okay, they were there. Okay, they were there, and this is the land of Og of Bashan. You should know that. And I'm telling you now, this is the way that they went. Now, what does this land? This is Hebrews. Listen to what Hebrews 11 says. By faith, Abraham was called to go to a place he would later receive as inheritance. Obeyed and went without knowing he was going by faith and dwelled in a promised land as a stranger in a foreign country. Okay, they were in a foreign country. Okay, so if you got the narrative going, are you in a foreign country? If these people are walking all around here, they're walking all around here. Is this a foreign country? Is this a foreign country? Okay. Or is this a foreign country? The West. Okay, that's the foreign country. I know they changed the names. I know they want to change. I know they changed the names. Now, they didn't drive the Canaanites out completely. If you look here at this verse here. However, the Israelites grew stronger. They came to forced labor. They subject the Canaanites to forced labor. Listen, but did not drive them out completely. Okay, they did not drive these people out completely. Okay, so what they didn't drive the people out completely. Now let's look at the map again. Let's look at this map again. Now, remember those names I told you, the Canaanite, the Amorite, and the Perizzite? Okay, remember those names? Okay, but those names did not change till this day. The books say the names still have the names till this day. Okay, let's look at the map and let's look at the information. If you go past the Bering Sea Straits, the place of crossing, what land do you come into? What's the name of this land? What's the name of this land? Canada. Okay, the land of the Canaanite. Okay, now what is this United States? I know it's called United States here, but this is called America, the land of the Amorite. So the land of the Canaanite and the land of the Amorite is right before you. The names have not changed. America, Canada. Okay, now what about the Perizzites? Where's their land? Okay, here's their land right here. Here's their land right here. You know what this land is called? Peru. The land of the Perizzite. Okay, it's right here. These are the lands that they came into and they went over to. And they took great nations and cities and they came in. But they didn't come in all at once. It's a slow process. Very slow process of this coming into this promise. People think they just came in this promised land. No, very slow process. These people, and it's not the people that left Egypt, okay? The people that left Egypt, they did not make it to the promised land. People think that it was a nice, beautiful story that, the people left Egypt and they went to the promised land. It was a great story. No, everybody that left the promised land, okay? Everyone that left the promised land, they all died in the wilderness, okay? They all died in the wilderness. Okay, every last one of them. But they took the offspring of these people. Okay, they took the offspring of the people, and they used the offspring that did not. They say in these books that they did not have the knowledge of good and evil. So they took the offspring and they killed all the ones that left Israel, except Caleb and Joshua, of course. But every one of them perished in the wilderness. Every one of them perished in the wilderness, and that's why they don't want to tell you. They don't want to tell you that. They don't want to tell you that they all perished in the wilderness, and they took their offspring because they did not have the knowledge of good and evil. And it's in here somewhere, but I would like to find it, but I have it here in one of these verses. But they took these people and they took them out of Egypt, okay, and they brought them into the wilderness, made sure they all perished in the wilderness, raised up their armies, raised up an army of people, because after all, they were for the armies. They wanted their armies, and they wanted the armies of these people, but they didn't want the people that left there were not good. They were backsliding. They wanted to go back, and they wanted to not go into the promised land. They wanted to go back to Egypt because it was better in Egypt. They found out that it was better in Egypt. So they were trying to get back to Egypt. But he made sure this Lord God, this Yahweh, made sure that he made sure they did make it out of the wilderness. But he took their offspring 20 and under, it says in this book, 20 and under. And he took them that did not have the knowledge of good and evil. And he took them for their armies. And he took them for their armies, and he took them into a land and to destroy peoples from another land. And it's unbelievable that this information is here, but people still think that this was a beautiful story, that they just went to the promised land and they live happily ever after, but that's not true. They went to kill people in the promised land. They went to murder and kill the Canaanite, Amorite, the Hittite, Perizzites, and they wanted to eradicate them from the earth. And they wanted to steal their land, take their land. That is what this journey is about. It's not a good story. It's not really a good story. But I can tell you one thing: it's not a story that of them going from this point to this point. That's not what this is talking about. So anyway, that's all I got to say for now. Have a good one.